Friends, there will be times in life when what's happening around you doesn't make sense. You prayed for that door to open, but it closed. You believed for healing, but the report didn't change. You were counting on that promotion, but it went to someone else. It's easy to get discouraged and think, God, where are you? Why didn't you do it my way? But I've learned that God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are greater than our thoughts. You see, he sees the whole picture, the beginning, the middle, and the end while we can only see today. And sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. That delay you're frustrated about, God is using it to protect you, to prepare you, to position you. He's lining up the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing. You might not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and say, God, you knew exactly what you were doing. I remember hearing about a man who lost his job unexpectedly. He was devastated. He had a family to take care of and bills to pay, but instead of getting bitter, he kept trusting God's plan. Months later, he was offered a position far better than the one he lost, higher pay, closer to home, and more fulfilling than he ever imagined. If he had stayed where he was, he never would have stepped into this blessing. That's how God works. Sometimes he closes a door because he knows what's on the other side isn't good for you. Sometimes he moves you out of your comfort zone because he has something better. It may not make sense right now, but it's all part of his plan to bring you into his best. So, keep believing when you don't understand. Keep praising him in the middle of the waiting. Keep declaring, God, I trust your ways even when I can't see the outcome. One God sees what we cannot. His perspective is eternal, and he knows the end from the beginning. God sees what we cannot. He has a view of your life from a perspective you and I simply don't have. While we're focused on what's right in front of us, he's looking at the entire journey, every twist, every turn, every hidden detail. We often make decisions based on what we know in the moment, but God is working with complete knowledge. He sees the road ahead, the people you'll meet, the opportunities you'll need, and even the obstacles that could harm you if you took the wrong step. Think of it like standing in the middle of a maze. All you can see are the walls around you. You turn left because it looks like the right way, but then you hit a dead end. That's how life can feel. We make plans, we set our expectations, but sometimes things don't go the way we envisioned. Yet, if you were standing above that maze, you'd see the whole layout. You'd know exactly which turns lead to freedom and which lead to disappointment. That's how God guides us. He's above the maze, seeing every possible path, and he knows the one that will take you to your destination safely and at the right time. When we understand this, it becomes easier to trust him when things don't make sense. You might think a certain job, relationship, or opportunity is perfect for you, but God can see something you can't. He might see that in a few months, that situation would bring unnecessary stress, harm your peace, or pull you away from your true calling. Out of his love, he redirects you, even if that means allowing a temporary disappointment. Sometimes we confuse unanswered prayers with God ignoring us, but in reality, he's answering with wisdom. He's saying, I have something better. I see the trap ahead, and I'm protecting you from it. Trusting God means believing he's good, even when you can't trace his hand. It's choosing to say, Lord, you see the full picture. I'll follow your lead, even if it means letting go of what I thought I wanted. When you walk with that mindset, you can live with peace, knowing the one guiding you already knows the way. 2 setbacks can be setups. Disappointments may be preparing you for a greater blessing. Setbacks can be setups. At first, those words might sound strange because when something falls apart, our natural reaction is to feel like we've lost time, lost opportunity, lost hope. But often, what we call a setback is actually God rearranging the pieces so that we end up in a better position than before. It's a divine redirection, not a defeat. Sometimes God allows certain doors to close or certain plans to crumble because he knows that if they stayed in place, they would keep us from stepping into something greater. Think about a seed planted in the ground. From the outside, it looks like it's been buried, covered in darkness, cut off from the sunlight, hidden away from sight. If you didn't understand the process, you might assume the seed's life is over. But in reality, that seed isn't being buried, it's being planted. It's in the perfect place to grow roots, to develop strength, to push through the soil at the right time. In the same way, when life places you in a season where you feel hidden or overlooked, you may not be buried, you might just be planted for something bigger. There are countless stories of people who thought they had reached the end, only to discover that their so-called end was the beginning of something far better. A job loss became the spark to start a thriving business. A broken relationship made room for a healthier, more fulfilling one. A missed opportunity opened the door to a life-changing one. The key is refusing to give up during the low points, because those moments are often the very places where God is working the most. When you face a setback, it's tempting to get bitter, to ask, "Why me?" But what if instead you asked, "God, what are you setting me up for?" That shift in perspective changes everything. It moves you from frustration to expectation. It reminds you that you serve a God who can take what was meant to harm you and use it for your good. So, the next time something doesn't go as planned, remember you might not be losing. You might just be in the middle of a divine setup for something greater than you ever imagined. 3. Every delay has a purpose. God uses waiting seasons to align the right people and opportunities. Every delay has a purpose. When we're praying and believing for something, we naturally want it to happen quickly. We live in a world of instant results, instant messages, instant meals, instant everything, so when God's answer doesn't come right away, it's easy to think something is wrong. But a delay doesn't mean God has forgotten you. It doesn't mean your prayer has been ignored. Many times it's part of God's perfect plan to get everything aligned before releasing what you're asking for. Sometimes God delays because the timing isn't right yet. If He gave you the blessing too soon, you might not be ready to handle it. You could have the right dream but be in the wrong season. Just like fruit has to ripen before it's picked, certain opportunities need time to mature before they can be enjoyed. God knows exactly when the conditions will be perfect for you to step into what He's prepared. Other times, the delay is about alignment. God may be arranging circumstances behind the scenes, moving pieces you can't see. He could be preparing someone to meet you, opening a door that hasn't been built yet, or closing off a wrong path so you won't be tempted to take it. You might think nothing is happening, but in reality, heaven is working overtime to position you for the right moment. Delays can also build your faith and character. Waiting has a way of stretching us, teaching us patience, and deepening our trust in God's faithfulness. If everything happened instantly, we wouldn't need faith. But it's in those seasons of waiting that our roots go deeper. We learn to lean on God's promises, to trust His word even when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. When you understand that every delay has a purpose, you can stop being frustrated by the wait and start being expectant in it. You can say, "God, I may not see the full picture right now, but I believe you're preparing something better than I could imagine." And when the answer finally comes, you'll realize the timing was perfect, not a day too early, not a moment too late. God's delays are never wasted. They are divine appointments in disguise. 4 closed doors are divine protection. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Closed doors are divine protection. When we put our heart into something, a job application, a business idea, a relationship, and it doesn't work out, the first feeling we often experience is disappointment. We think, why would God allow this to happen? It can feel unfair, especially if we believed we were doing the right thing. But many times, a closed door is not God punishing you. It's Him protecting you from something you can't yet see. We see the surface of situations, but God sees the depths. He knows the motives of people, the traps hidden ahead, and the long-term effects of choices we might make.
You might think that opportunity is perfect for you, but God can see years down the road and knows it might lead you into stress, heartbreak, or compromise. Out of love, He shuts the door not to hurt you, but to guide you toward what's truly best. It's a little like a parent stopping a child from touching a hot stove. The child doesn't understand why they can't touch it. All they know is that they want to, but the parent sees the danger and steps in. In the same way, God sometimes steps in to close the way forward, even when we don't understand His reasoning. Closed doors can also redirect you to something greater. There are countless stories of people who thought their dream was over when one path closed, only to later discover it led them to a much better destination. That job rejection led to a better career. That failed plan made room for a new, more fulfilling one. Sometimes the door you wanted to walk through was too small for the big blessing God had in store. The challenge is not to get stuck at the closed door, staring at it in disappointment.
Instead, we must trust that if God closed it, He has another one prepared that will open at the right time. And when it does, you'll understand why the first one had to shut. So the next time a door closes in your life, instead of saying, "Why me?" say, "Thank you, Lord, for protecting me."
You may not see it now, but that closed door could be the very thing that saves you and positions you for a future far better than you imagined. 5. Faith thrives in uncertainty. Trust God's perfect timing even when the path isn't clear. Faith thrives in uncertainty. It's easy to trust God when everything is going smoothly, when prayers are being answered quickly, doors are opening, and life feels predictable. But real faith is tested in those moments when the path ahead is unclear, when you don't know how things will work out, and when there's no evidence in sight that your situation is improving. That's where faith grows strongest, because it forces you to lean not on what you can see, but on who God is. Uncertainty can be uncomfortable because we like control. We want to know the plan, the timeline, and every step along the way. But if we had all the answers, we wouldn't need faith. God often allows us to walk through seasons where we can't see the full picture, so we learn to depend completely on Him.
In those moments, you have to make a choice. Either focus on the unknown and let fear take over, or focus on God's promises and let peace fill your heart. Think of a ship sailing through thick fog. The captain can't see the shore, but he trusts his compass and navigational tools to guide him. In the same way, God's Word becomes our compass in uncertain times. It reminds us that He is faithful, that He is for us, and that He has a plan for our lives even if the details are still hidden. The beauty of faith in uncertainty is that it draws you closer to God.
When you can't rely on your own understanding, you start relying on His. You talk to Him more, you listen more carefully for His voice, and you begin to see small signs of His hand at work, a timely conversation, an unexpected provision, a door opening out of nowhere. These moments strengthen you and confirm that even in the fog, you're not lost. Faith doesn't mean you won't have questions or doubts, but it does mean you choose to trust in spite of them. It's the decision to say, "God, I don't know how or when, but I believe you'll make a way." And when you come out on the other side, you'll realize the uncertainty wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to build a deeper, unshakable trust that will carry you through every season of life.